As a second JKS just explodes. That's mid-control completely seized there from the youngest member of the squad. And the three remaining NiP members are kind of floundering, wondering, where do we take this bomb? Where is this bomb going?
They have to gamble. Now they have to gamble, and you can see NiP 2 players cheating over towards A. B is completely left open, and obviously Renegades can't know that at the moment. Sponge coming into CT spawn. Get Right takes him out. He's got to hold strong. He's got more people chasing him down. 8 bullets left. Can't connect with anything else. Havoc is going to take him out.
Yeah, this is looking like a bloodbath then. All onto Alu. JKS has already found his third, as Alu does make it look a little neater and tidier, as he does get one alongside Get Right. Still, though, 3 to find, and that bomb's not going to be taking any time now. 35 seconds, and JKS finds his fourth.
What
an
a round.
Astounding round from JKS. Relatively quiet over on Mirage, because his team was doing it for him, and this time, he says, I'm fragging as well. First round on the board then for Renegades, and we said that, you know, they've got to make it happen on T-side. They've got to start strong, and my God, if JKS hasn't done that for them.
Yeah, and that's how they started out against Titan, is getting so many early kills in the rounds and then just taking that advantage and just decimating them from there. They do it again to NiP. Get Right's got the shotgun. They have 4 smokes as well. Basically what this will do, they're going to use those smokes in a choke point, funnel that off, and try and force Renegades over towards the side that they want to stack.
So a glass cannon mag 7, that's it's an intriguing one. Let's see how far they can get with that one. He's, of course, holding that boost spot over on B.
2 smokes have been used already. Exist is cheating over towards B, but just a 3-man stack. That shotgun is there. There goes a third smoke as well. That's on mid, and what's happening is Exist uses smoke first, rotated over towards B. Alo uses smoke second in mid, and now he's rotating over towards B, so it's just Forest here. They want to have the presence as if there's multiple players up at this A bomb site, but Renegades at the moment is not falling for it whatsoever.
So trying to force Sponge to kind of do the maths and say, okay, let's go B. Instead, though, he's not falling for the bluff, and I spoke too soon.
Azer's just falling back to check and make sure he's not being
I saw a couple of others start to orientate themselves, but fortunately, the T-side stand vigilant. So much utility still, and they're just going to be waiting this clock down before they can set up with all of those nades for a push on towards A, and I think it's actually coming. We can look at B as much as you want, because the T-side, they're having absolutely none of it as they worm their way towards CT Arch.
These smokes have ran the clock down. There are only 30 seconds left. So Renegades is just going to wrap around. They're going to try and use the range of these Galils of that AK-47. Force is the only one in pit. He's going to have to come up with something magical.
If he stops this bomb from going down, things could get dicey, but he's been forced out from the mollies. That's 2, I think, thrown towards his location. It was actually a HE, but the bomb does go down courtesy of Sponge, and now the rotate is on. 4 members of Ninjas in Pajamas are storming towards the site with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, and Havoc is going to be making it even more painful as he takes down Freiburg. Now, some heavily tagged Swedes are going to be desperately making a decision. I think that decision is clear. Let's let Forest fall by the wayside and keep our investments safe. It's just P250 and, of course, the Mag 7 for Get Right, but, I mean, how much can you do at this point? There's rifles in this equation, time in this equation, and, of course, 5 Australians ready to pick up that round. They're spreading themselves out. They know they've done something, but actually a little bit of damage is exchanged between the two. Get Right finally finds something from the Mag 7, but that's going to be a round, and that's going to be very interesting from Renegades.
That's awful, though, by Renegades.
Wait,
giving up this AK-47 into CT spawn, retreating out of that bomb site so uncoordinated. They actually also lost a Galil that also went towards CT spawn, so that's a good find for Alu. Now, I doubt he's going to be buying armor this round simply because of the investment of the last round.
Spoke too soon.
Oh, he does. He buys it up. So, I mean, that's actually devastating. Alu could do some real damage with this.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they're aware of this error. They're going to be probably kicking themselves or not. Double SMGs, though, because they know that they can rip through the majority of the CT side, that's for certain. The Renegades, they're on track to pick up the first 3 here, and looks like the first time they're going to be casting the majority of their eyes over towards this banana area. Molly does delay the inevitable as they try and clear out the potential spots. Ali's already been brought down to half health. How much damage can he do with this AK? The answer is quite a lot. He's already found 1, 5, 2, found 3! Alu springs to life with that 1 slip-up from RNG, and now just Sponge and Havoc have it all to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens when you give up an AK-47. Bad decision-making in the last round from Renegades, and they've been punished for it. This gives Get Right a lot of space to flank with. It's going to take a little bit longer, but there's really nowhere, because Renegades had no control in mid. They can't fall back safely. They don't know maybe 3 members of NiP push down, so they've got to be cautious. They're just going to sit outside, wait to see if anyone from NiP is going to peek, but that's just not going to happen. They're completely boxed into banana.
Yeah, I think they're just going to dig their heels in and realize that Alu has done a huge amount into securing this round. Sponge and Havoc, though, they're not out of this just yet, especially if just one of them can find an entrance into this site. Exist and Freiburg are planning on making that difficult. Smoke just come out from them, though, to try and make the angles a little easier to check. Nade comes out, caught nicely by Exist, brought down to 50 as they are throwing out as much as they can, trying to take at least this one out of this. It's going to be 2. It's now all onto Sponge. He's already found 3 in this round, finds his 4th. It's going to be Get Right, who fortunately does manage to secure it, finishes where Alu started and secures the round. It wasn't neat, it wasn't pretty, but Ninjas in Pajamas win a round they had no right to.
Yeah, they completely punished Renegades for that one goof of just losing that AK-47, so that's tough, but because that's the thing, Renegades, this was the opportunity they could have piled some rounds on early before NiP can build up this bank, because now look at the arsenal they have. They have all their rifles, but they also have 3 Molotovs. They have smokes. Everyone has a smoke, so now these choke points are going to be so difficult to manage for the terrorist side.
See what they kind of have up their sleeves. I mean, 3 flashes now and a smoke as one thrown out by Sponge is all they have to piece together this round. And actually just one, he realizes the boost is coming in, and Freiburg going aggressive down Banana does a hefty amount of damage to that stack. There's another one. Forrester Sponge punished for showing his face down Boiler.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate to walk into. Beautiful vertical stack, too many players to choose from, so Sponge falls. And a lot of damage dealt. This is a force by Renegades, and they've made no progress despite all the damage they've taken.
Yeah, it's just delaying again. You talked about these smokes, and it seems to be a very much rinse and repeat, as you would expect on Inferno, just literally bringing that clock down as far as they can. And the T side have now got 3 rifles to play with. Oh, of course, trying to find a way in. It's going to be coming down to how much Freiburg can do, and he's already found damage. And no, Get Right just finishes him up. It was lined up by Freiburg, and Get Right knocks him down, and now Havoc is sitting here realizing that, I mean, yeah, hell, he's got the bomb, but 35 seconds. He just wants to try and keep that rifle.
Yeah, there's not really, I mean, this is the thing too, because now once they lose this round, they're going to be forced onto a safe force. Is going to clean up Havoc, but now they're going to be on an eco round, and this is just going to allow more money to be built up by NiP. So that's the thing on the terror side of this map, when you can get stalled out so easily, when it can be so defensive sided, you have to get some rounds won early on before those Molotovs can be afforded by the CT defense to just be rebought round after round after round.
So it can't be overstated how important Renegades winning that 3rd was. It didn't happen, and that's going to cost them.
More so losing the AK in the second round
yeah,
that allowed NiP, the Alu, magnificent play. You cannot overstate how much impact that can have on this match.
It's insane how we can see some of the smaller elements sometimes of CS making such an impact in such a crucial game of Counter-Strike, as it is just going to be a few pistols for the T side, desperately trying to find something, and hell, Havoc does with just the Glock as another for Havoc. That's actually a level playing field now in terms of numbers, most definitely not equipment, as I think Alu's going to be able to tidy this one up somewhat, and Naza is not going to be able to catch Freiburg off with this one. No more Glock frags for you, but they managed to make a small impact into the NiP side, and it certainly could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, now going into this buy round, this is also big for Renegades, but this defense from NiP, they're getting so much early damage done, whether it's through smokes towards Banana, you know, dinking some player up on the boost, throwing some nades down. They're getting a lot of early damage. They're softening Renegades up for later on in the round when they're out of those smokes and the choke points. When that execution eventually does come through, a little bit easier for NiP to clean it all up.
And Forrest going for that very deep early smoke to try and lock them out of Banana, enables them to get some early control, and Freiburg's going to be doing just that as he makes his way towards sandbags, flashed through by Get Right as they are really just seizing control. Look at this. This is definitely something quite special from NiP. JKS readying himself alongside the rest of his team. As soon as that smoke does dissipate, they're going to be making their presence known. In fact, not even waiting for the smoke. Exists trying to hold steady, but JKS does manage to trade out with Alu. Back and forth, it seems, as the T side are flooding through. They've done this once, but not against rifles of the CT side, and it looks like Exist and Get Right are just going to take it in turns, as now all onto Azza. He's only found one. That's all he's going to be given, as Ninjas in Pajamas secure 4.
Yeah, so many smokes on that wrap side. Even though they get a good trade coming up and forcing Exist back into CT spawn, they can't find anywhere to go from there. They'd have to run through another smoke and into so many angles that could have been defended. And NiP, that rotation from Get Right, very aggressive, just coming through the smoke, bailing his teammates out, cleaning up some kills here. So a good defense so far. NiP up 4-2, and it's 4 straight.
Yeah, I mean, you keep kind of addressing how CT can have momentum in their economy. And look at this, Alu and Exist looking to pad those numbers even more so. PP Bison just rushing down mid with the nade. Get Right supporting with the rifle, but Sponge says no to one SMG. Alu, however, is coming from behind. He's going to be able to snatch one. That round is over before it even begun. And we're going to be seeing Renegades down then 2-5. With Ninjas in Pajamas looking very comfortable. We're seeing 2 players in the 10,000 margin. And
here's a little bit of a switch up from Renegades. So they pick up an AWP onto Yam. So this is a tough tough map for a terrorist op to be effective, just because of how many smokes are going to be in these choke points. You're always opping in the choke points, and nades, smokes, flashbangs, they're all going to be coming at you, so it can be very, very difficult to find kills, but they want to be able to pick one off before they commit somewhere. Alu's got the AWP for the CT side.
And whether or not we'll see that exchange is a different question. Alu is going to be smoked off, and he's immediately going to be getting the hell out of there, potentially a sign of heavy T presence in mid. Fortunately, though, for him, not going to be coming just yet. Instead, this stack could be perfect. He knows Freiburg likes to check it and didn't manage to find the frag. That could have been crucial for the Renegades side. Just starting to push out the first block of the NiP pile, but not going to happen just yet. Instead, Get Right's the one to be going aggressive this time. And why is it that they're putting so much emphasis on early banana control?
Banana on Inferno kind of plays out like a mid. If you don't have control of it, you're pretty much confined towards the A bomb site. So they need to get some damage done. They need to make NiP honest on defending this. Freiburg once again playing with Yam's op, almost catching a couple bullets there. But either way, still complete control for NiP. Clock's winding down, 45 seconds, one Molotov left on Forest. Now, because they're out of the Molotovs and the smokes, that forces Get Right and Freiburg back into the B bomb site as Sponge and Azur push them back. But either way, Alu gets that opening kill onto Yam over a day.
We wondered if we were going to be seeing the AWP duel, and we most definitely did. Alu prevails in that one, as there is a weird split for the T side. Bomb in the hands of JKS is actually going to be kind of maneuvering its way towards B. It's actually going to be Sponge who hungers for an entry. Get Right and Freiburg are the sentinels currently standing. Get Right towards that first box, isn't going to be able to find too much more. I say that, actually Azur walks straight into his crosshair. Could this be a third as well? JKS is a little late to the party, 13 seconds. That bomb's not going to be going down easy, but JKS forces Get Right's hand, and that's going to be the bomb going down in the nick of time. Havoc trying to keep him safe. Exist crawling from Banana as well. They're going to have every single entrance into this site. It's going to come down to what JKS and Havoc can piece together early. They need to level the numbers now. And I think JKS is desperate to try and find Alu. He's going to try, and it's Havoc who finds it. Now a 2v2. This is doable for Renegades, and it's surely not going to happen. But yet JKS makes it realistic. Exist, 37 points of health, and that bomb is ticking away fast. Renegades have managed to turn this on its head. And now Exist. What is your plan here? Absolutely nothing as he gets sprayed down. JKS looking glorious with 3. Havoc was keeping him safe and sound, and Renegades do manage to acquire that one quite stylishly. Yeah, what a round to win from Renegades. Everything was working against them there. That's kind of the trouble when there's so many nades to block off everywhere on Inferno. You kind of can see there that hit on B was pretty haphazard to begin with. It was going in one by one because you all of a sudden you've got 30 seconds left on the clock and you've made no progress anywhere on the map, so you have to fall back into this B hit. Either way, they make it work in the end, and that's a huge win. That's a round that NiP probably shouldn't have given up. Yeah, they're going to be kind of regretting that somewhat, but Alu looking to change things as he already opens up onto Azur. Playing from a disadvantage so early on T side, Inferno can be awful. I mean, it's hard enough with 5 sometimes to find a way into the site with time to spare. But then again, we just saw what Renegades can do with just 20 seconds. So let's see if we can find any more evidence for an early pick. A trade back and forth. He knows Freiburg is there. Yam is so convinced, but every single time he just whittles away at the legs of Yam. This time it was Sponge who gets taken away. Finally, through the smoke, Yam connects, and that was important as he does bring it down back to a 4v4. And NiP have some counting, some numeracy to do in order to keeping these both sites safe. Right, and Exist starting to bail out now over towards the B bomb site. It's just Get Right there at the moment, but Renegades look like they're setting up for an A execute here. They're still all over an alt mid. No one even towards Banana whatsoever. It's just Forrest and Alu playing very, very passively at this A bomb site. And, I mean, this 2-2 split. It's probably the best bet for NiP at this point. Not wanting to get caught out by a heavy force from either side. So far, though, it does look like JKS and Sponge are trying to make the rotate happen over towards A, but the bomb, it's a fake, has other plans. But they've committed 2 to this one. This is intriguing. I don't think NiP are going to fall for it, but when frags like that are happening, Get Right's going to push up. This is beautiful on either side of the map. Bodies are dropping, and JKS and Sponge are saying, shoot. The A site is open, and Alu, fortunately, does find the frag onto JKS. Now all on to Exist. He's got 10 seconds to just stop the bomb from going down, and it's beautiful. Exist. 2 kills could never be so important. As Sponge realizes it's all said and done, 2 AWPs sitting in the CT hands, and he can't take one away. And that's going to be crucial for NiP. Exist even connecting through the smoke. Salt to the wound of the Australians as they managed to get 6 on the board. And we talked about how they managed to manipulate the clock beforehand. No cigar this time. Yeah, and this is a smart pause from Sponge because their economy's been reset now. So they're going to have to try and figure something out because, yeah, they're not finding a lot of success before that clock dwindles. It's basically see what happens and then go over towards B. That round, I think it was actually a little unfortunate. Renegades throw a smoke that extinguishes their own Molotov and it blows up in a really awkward position, and that was the smoke that
Exist kind of toyed with there at the end to get that double kill, but that was a fake, and that worked out really well for Renegades. Forrest with a nade out gets caught, and then that causes Get Right to want to try and get an early flank going on. He gets punished as well, but Exist comes up huge.
I mean, that seemed everything was coming into place for Renegades in that round. You're absolutely right, but what shows what just one man can do when given the opportunity. We can see that again. Those 2 kills. They had just so little time left on the clock, taking so many risks so early.
That's kind of the thing with the clock running down that low. It's almost like even if Exist didn't get both of them, even if it just took them a couple seconds too long to kill them, they might not have even had time to get the plant down anyways. So that's the thing. Once that economy of this counter-terrorist gets rolling, you have a lot of things working against you.
Yeah, pretty terrifying now then, as I think that timeout is going to be... it's going to be crucial to see. We were talking about this before, though. We were saying over in the green room, we were talking about when is the right time to call a timeout. Is it once you have a weapon in your hand? Because time after time we've seen so far here at ESL 1 Cologne that they call the timeout when they only have a very limited economy, Moses. Is that something that you kind of would put up to debate? Is it kind of by team, or is it kind of an obvious decision?
I honestly would have liked to have seen Renegades do... I think more teams should do this. You just asked me in the last match. This is one of those things that we saw exactly what Thailand did on Mirage. Is just sit and spawn. You're going to be saving this round anyways, more than likely. You do have Havoc, who has a decent amount of money, but really outside of that, there's nothing. So just sit and spawn, talk things over, and that's a free timeout. You can use this later, because now if they get into a sticky situation in the second half, they have nothing to fall back on.
Absolutely. They need to kind of keep those timeouts safe. And I'm just going to see, I saw a couple of buys going in. It was just Havoc acquiring himself a P250 for his team. But yeah, I think that's something we're going to be considering more and more so. Is you can play this, just play the time of the round and keep that timeout safe. It's intriguing to see the kind of the mind games that go into that and how you play a timeout. But Sponge hasn't stopped talking so far.
Well, one thing that Renegades can do, obviously not now that their economy is this low, but if they want to put that emphasis on Yam having an AWP on the terror side, one thing that Kenny S used to do pretty frequently on Titan was he'd take his op into halls, because that's often the only choke point. He'd have an AK with him to help clear it out in case there was anyone close, but that's often the only place that early on into a round that's not smoked off. So he'd get there pretty quick, try and grab an angle into that A-bomb site, see if he can pick off Forrest, who's played graveyards a couple times, see if you can peek into the site, try and find a kill that way. But sitting behind these smokes in mid and at B is not working out for Renegades at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, not so good. But, I mean, where would Renegades be comfortable on the side swap? 6-3, the current scoreline. You said already that they have so much more success when they start on the CT. But, I mean, what kind of numbers are they going to be comfortable with when they do get gifted that defensive side?
At this point, I mean, they're going to want... They'd be comfortable with 2 or 3 more.
Right, okay.
But, I mean, anything less than 5, you're just like, oh, no, this
has gone diabolical.
Right. We got to have a good start to our CT half.
And this is interesting from NiP. They're immediately just charging, not giving them a second to think, as they do just push up, and you can see the T side getting ripped apart at this point. As the CT just emerged through middle, and their bodies are going to keep dropping. Still, a small investment that Havoc managed to throw onto the ground was nothing, and laughed at by NiP as they do acquire 7. And that timeout, you see, I can see how that would get into your head as you've made a timeout, you've made these plans, and then you just go and lose your 5 lives in a matter of seconds. Instead, maybe this could have been the round they called that time. We'll see if it has any impact, though, as it does look like we are going to be seeing buys in the hands of the Renegades. 7-3, the scoreline, and, I mean, where are they going to be choosing to go here? Alu has the AWP as well. He's going to be a threat.
Yeah, he's going to peek mid once again. He knows there's not an AWP on the other side, so he's getting aggressive like he wants to peek down. Sponge might be the only one to find, but 4 players for Renegades in ult mid. JKS, he's smoked out of halls at the moment, but it looks like they want to grab halls control and go from there. Once again, though, everything blocked off. They're just going to come right through the smoke. There's Alu punishing Yam for it.
And it looks like Exist is going to be finding a second as well. Azza now sleeping with the fishes. Just 3 remain. Sponge, Havoc, and JKS. And Sponge does manage to grab the Galil, so that's something. But it looks like Exist and Freiburg are having no problems whatsoever, as the entire Australian attack has just been laughed off by the Swedes. They walk away with 8 at the moment. 3 for Exist in that round, who's been fantastic, both on the B site, this time on the A. Doesn't matter where you put him. The man is on fire, and you can even see a small smile potentially creeping on everyone. Oh, there it is! Exist smiling as well. He's finally showing that he has got emotions, and he's happy to be sitting 9 frags in.
Well, that's who's going to be happy to see that is Natu, the coach of NiP. Just because I know from talking to him, he always says like, their biggest problem right now is their confidence. They need to be playing like themselves. They need to be confident, and they're playing like it at the moment.
Alu demonstrating why they have this confidence. He can hit shots So comfortably in middle, it's going to be 2. Looking for a third as well, as he is going to be forced back from that flashbang. But already just kind of shutting down any sort of presence. Oh, man, that is going to be beautiful, as that could very well be another one, as it's going to be just JKS standing. Alu's already snatched 3 lives away, and it's going to be Forest who puts that nail into the Renegade coffin. 9-3 though on this CT side of Inferno. And you said confidence. I'm pretty sure starting this well against a team who just looked so good up against Titan is going to put them in good stead.
Well, and this is a really good match for Alu so far. It's 17-4. All 5 members of NiP before this round were sitting over $10,000. So they're going to be comfortable for the rest of this half, no matter what happens. And Renegades' chances are dwindling to add some more rounds out of this going into the second half.
Yeah, for Flaren was saying that we can't quite accommodate for just one player. He's just one player, but right now that one player is doing a whole lot for NiP. Casting my mind back to that very position Freiburg was just in with the AK. This time it's going to be Freiburg who finds the frags there, and it feels like the T side are kind of hitting a bit of a wall here. 2 players down so early. Yeah,
they've switched things up a little bit. So now they spent the first half of this, the first few rounds of this half, just stuck behind these smokes with nothing going. So this time they're just saying, we're going to go faster. We're going to try and beat these smokes. We're going to come right through the smokes. That's not working either. Mostly because this man, Alu, with a double kill, is just shutting down these attacks. Yem does find Freiburg trying to flank through Banana. But what do you do from here? 12 HP and AWP. The bomb is down over towards bench. He's got to get that, but NiP pushing into these halls. They've got too many eyes on it.
Yeah, I think he knows his time is over. Exist does cause Yam to cease to exist, and that's going to be 10-3. Now, 2 rounds left for Renegades. You said anything less than 5 is going to be tough for them. And already, these last 2 rounds are looking going to be pretty dicey. I mean, Tech-9's an armor for them going into this round. And
right, they're at the point they can't afford to save here. They just have to go for it. And at this point, what they're doing here, it's not a full force buy. They could have probably bought up some rifles if they had wanted to, but they're going to buy the Tech-9, see if they can get some magic to happen. But they have the full losing bonus, so next round they're going to be able to have a full buy no matter what they bought this round.
I mean, when you're playing NiP on the map, they have the most success as of late. You've got to watch out. Alu, he's been doing this time and time again. One side or the other. This time he's going to be flashed out. That does give a little bit of room for the Renegades to breathe, and Sponge extends that onto Exist. How far can Alu get? He actually connects the no-scope. Forest is there as well with 2 from Pit, dancing around as he's trying to find a third. And he does through the smoke with the 5-7. Havoc is looking a little shaken, and he is going to be eliminated as well. Forest just puts that force to bed with 4 frags, and NiP are looking very, very comfortable here against the Renegades side. They will, of course, be, if they pick this victory up, 1 step closer to returning to where they stood over in Katowice. A team that have looked so far from the team that we saw in the major final over in Poland. And now, I mean, they're playing against a team for elimination that we didn't see get out of groups over in that very same tournament. Just
to bring this full circle, going back to that second round where Renegades lost that AK-47 that Alu picked up, got a triple kill and won them the third round on it. It's been 11-1 for NiP. So that one AK-47, that one round, that opportunity it gave NiP, that's just too much of a chance, too big of a window to give a team like this. Even though they've been struggling lately, the experience in these kind of situations, you have to get them when they're down. You cannot give them that avenue back into the game.
Yeah, and every round they acquire now, NiP are going to be feeling more and more confident. Confidence like that. Forest with the AWP this time does open up onto Sponge, and Alu is showing no signs of stopping no matter what weapon is in his hands. Havoc now down and out, and the 3 Renegades remaining are wondering where it all went wrong, as again, time after time, we see the Renegades side depleted down to 3, maybe even 4, just kind of cut down before they have a chance to kind of build anything towards a site. Now, 50 seconds, and they're starting their push. Get Right's going to make it difficult. Snatches 2, may very well find a third through the smoke as he sprays wildly onto Yam. Connects as well. 12-3 for the Ninjas in pajamas. What a solid half.
Yeah, just once that economy got rolling, NiP never had to look back. Beautifully done from them. Alu was an absolute beast. 21-5 he ends up. Forrest as well, 17-7. He was so comfortable. Every time that Renegades went towards that A bomb site, it was basically, aside from that one fake they threw, they always went around wrap. And Forrest playing over towards that pit never had too much pressure put on him whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, something that was said on the desk that I'm going to kind of hang on to, cast my mind back to, was that Inferno was probably the most unlucky of the 3 remaining in that randomized thing for the Renegades. If they got CT side, it would be a different story. But the fact that a team could be so kind of influenced by where they start it's not necessarily a good sign. Talking of individual performance as well, that was the main key point we made in their game against Titan. We said JKS didn't need to stand up because everyone else was fragging so hard on Mirage. Same cannot be said for Inferno, with JKS the only man to breach double digits on the scoreboard.
They haven't had a chance to frag. I mean, NiP's done a great job on that defense of making sure that any fight that Renegades could choose to take at any point, it was a really tough fight for them. They were always in the disadvantaged situation going into those battles. So NiP just shutting them down at the moment, and it's good to see.
It truly is, and I mean, Alu's going to have a big smile on his face, sitting so high on the scoreboard.
The interesting thing is, Renegades, when this map got picked, you said it was probably the most unfortunate, is they were probably decently happy. They probably had some good confidence. It's their second best map. They've won 8 out of 11 matches on it, and this is just a NiP that's showed up, and once that, I mean, how many times can we say it? Once they start getting those Molotovs rebought and everything, there's just nothing that Renegades could do to make any kind of a progress. How many times did we see them just play these rounds out, lose a couple players, and then go back towards B, or play these rounds out and realize that you haven't made any progress because of all the smokes, and then just go back to B, and that's where NiP is just going to shut you down.
Yeah, distinct lack of progress early. I think it was that's actually a very good point you've made there, Moses, that was something that was just not given to them. Let's see if the Australians can do the same on their CT side, if they can lock Ninjas in Pyjamas out as much as they experienced on the other half. It has been a swap around then. 12-3 on the first half. This is the second, battling for survival at this point. One of these teams will be extinct from the major, and look at the buy for the CT side. Pushing up aggressive. As Havoc does get tickled by the HE, he's going to gather a whole lot of information for even with that second peak, as 2 bodies are surely going to be dropping on towards Banana. That is not so sweet, as JKS is the only one to really return the favor. Yeah,
the danger is even if Get Right falls here watching the flank, all 3 members are there, which is really, really unfortunate, but there's no kits on the CT side. No one bought a kit whatsoever, so now that this bomb is planted, they've got to move very, very quickly.
Oh, he just jumped over Get Right's head. He's sitting on the other side of the smoke, and they have no idea. Get Right rubbing his hands together with an evil laugh as he's made the call. There couldn't be any more intel now for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and Alu happy to provide the frags. Picks up 2, Get Right cleans up, sweeps the Australians under the rug, and that, my friends, is the start of Ninjas in Pyjamas getting to the arena.
It would have been Get Right in that situation to have someone just jump over his head and just hand him the perfect alert. That would happen to Get Right. Oh, either way.
What is this pile of logs in Banana? I don't quite remember this part that as they mantle over him through the smoke.
It's just funny because he's jumping through the smoke to make himself hard to kill if someone's playing on the right or the left angles, and it just so happens that he times his jump perfectly to clear Get Right.
Now, as time and luck most definitely are not on the side of Renegades, 13-3. They have to try and piece something together, and JKS does it. That's 2. It could very well be 3, but just cowering behind the car is enough to keep the remaining 3 standing. Where do you go from here, though? Are they alerted? Are they going to try and deal with it? Freiburg does, darts into the side with a MAC-10, trying to do something. Havoc backs away. Life is more valuable than a frag at this point. Wants to try and stay stacked before the bomb goes down, because it still isn't. And Sponge is wrapping around from Banana. Now the bomb in. 3 remaining for Renegades. They've made such a good impact, and all off the back of JKS, who's been fantastic, top of the scoreboard player so far here on Inferno. But weapons most definitely favour the T's. This shouldn't, and it does go their way. What just happened? Renegades, on the breach of defeat, managed to find a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, that's they just returned the favor and won an eco of their own. So NiP, they want to just bully their way into that B bomb site, and JKS stops them cold with those initial 2 kills, and from there, the remaining Renegades players, 4 on 3, they can just whittle them down as they enter that bomb site. So nicely done from Renegades. They've given themselves a chance here. But look at this, NiP not taking their foot off the gas. Full nades, full armor, Tech 9s, and AK-47 for Freiburg, so they're not willing to concede the advantage just yet.
I mean, that must be tough. I mean, you know you've just had an amazing round, but you can't celebrate. There cannot be smiles. There can be very little, because you realize that is the start of something very, very small at this point in the game. 13 rounds. You have such a small margin for error at this point that this force buy from NiP has just as much of a chance of throwing them off kilter.
Well, you know, Renegades is going to be very cautious and very prepared for the fact that this could be that Tech 9 buy. What's a little bit scary about it is the full nades behind it. NiP can do any kind of execute they want, and Renegades may not be prepared for that.
You can see Azza's almost trying to mimic what we saw from Freiburg, that control of Banana. Integral, supported by JKS, both with that secondary smoke if he needs it, but also they're trying to battle for some sort of information, both in the arsenal, but also into the positioning of the Swedish side. So far, so good, though. They have got a nice spread across the map. Weapons favour them, that's for certain. Just the one man with the SMG. It's Sponge who's going to be having trouble to dispatch of the armoured T's. It's going to be Azza who's first to be tested, just finds the one. As already damage has been done. JKS down to just 1 point of health, but he's still breathing. He's making the call, and Sponge's legs cannot carry him fast enough towards that B site. Molly thrown out. What can you do with the SMG? The answer is a lot. Finds the head of Exist. Could very well find a second as he finds a fresh magazine. But Forrest says no. 3v2 then. As, Havoc so close to finding Forrest, but a second on the board. And it looks like NiP manages to kick Renegades back down a peg after what was an incredible second round for them on the CT side. Now Yam, 3 players to find. Does crawl into the site. Every angle is going to be held, and he knows that 3 is just such a painful number when trying to retake B. Every corner. Oils, new box, and I mean, he tried it. You got to give him that, but there's not going to be enough. And Ninjas in Pajamas now 2 away from the arena. Yeah, but DM was just walking up. He was trying to see if anyone from NiP was going to give him a free kill, peek out, give him something to work with, turn it into a 1-on-2. That's a little bit more believable, but NiP can smell the quarterfinals, so they played that very disciplined, very aggressive as well. Flashbang from Get Right coming from alt mid, blinding the player at Tree for just 1 second, allows him to be traded off. And now what's the response from Renegades? They have that AK-47. Because they won the Eco round, they had a little bit more money built up, so 2 M4s come out as well. So, 14-4. Gonna be the score so far. So there's a whole horde of nades for the Ninjas in Pajamas. Just the 3 rifles then from the CT side. As now, let's just go on into this one. As I'm not too sure how far Azza and JKS are going to be allowed to push. And look at this boost above the smoke. Something a little bit different from the Renegades, and it's not going to be caught out. That was possible, but not going to happen this time. Get Right quick to respond, though, on towards Yam, as it is a 4v4, and Get Right trying to make some noise around towards Quad. Exist is going to be doing... Now, you're just going back and forth. They're really struggling to find an entrance so far. Neat and tidily anyway. And Azza is there to hold Sponge's hand as he readies himself to hold. Not much health to be seen, and Alu does ensure that as the bodies keep dropping. Now just a 2v2. Yeah, but you can see the difference in these two teams. That's a nice shot by Freiburg, though, as well. They're just so much better at trading was NiP as they came up that ramp. Now JKS has turned this into a 1-on-1 with that 5-7. But so much utility still in Freiburg. Molotov on the ground, gets extinguished by the smoke. JKS is just being held back by that flashbang. A lot of work to do. Freiburg holding the angle. JKS trying to find something. Nothing's being given to him. He doesn't have a kit, so he's got to hurry this up now. He's getting to that point, and he finds the headshot. Freiburg takes the peek, but JKS plays it so patiently. That was crucial. Renegades managing to acquire the 5th. Whew, that's another one on the board and managed to stave off another round from Ninjas in Pajamas. They tried something different, even at this stage, even on the ropes, they tried to innovate. Yam above the smoke in mid. Didn't quite do everything, but their economy still looking a little shaky. Yeah, and with that plant and it down to a 1-on-1, NiP is going to buy again here. They're not going to, you know, lessen They're not going to relent. Absolutely. Because it's still a very weak buy out of Renegades. If you look at it, 2 FAMASes, only 1 kit, 4 smokes, which is pretty nice, 2 Molotovs as well behind it, but they know that Renegades' economy is broken. If they can win this round, it's almost a free path to the Lanxess Arena. Absolutely. Now, the 2-9s are going to give them a kind of an ability to push in aggressive. Talking of aggressive, Azza straight on, casting his eyes down Banana, and that's 2 bodies dropped. Yam down as well, thanks to Get Right elsewhere, and now JKS is forced to retreat. It feels like an all too familiar scenario for him. In the meantime, Get Right again, that's 2 for him in such a crucial round. This is going to be NiP trying to force this round, force this victory, and it all comes down to JKS. He burns to death as 15 goes onto the board for Ninjas in Pajamas. They're not making this easy, Renegades. They're trying to keep things exciting, but Ninjas in Pajamas are looking like a team. They're simply outclassing them here on Inferno. Yeah, and what do you buy now? I mean, despite losing a couple rounds here and there, NiP has had complete control of this economy throughout this half. Just these 5 rounds has been dictated by the fact that NiP is not letting Renegades build up any bank behind their wins and then completely demolishing the economy the following round. So what do you buy? Azur as the scout. 3 pistols behind it as well as an ump. And it's looking clear. 4 players then remaining. 4 chances for Renegades to stay here, stay in the major. They put so much time, so much effort into improving their result. And it does look like they may not be able to be playing on that grand stage at the Lanxess Arena in front of 10,000 CSGO fans. JKS trying to keep the hope alive, though, with a frag onto Freiburg. Now Havoc, JKS, and Azza are all that stands in NiP's way from getting 1 step closer to where they stood over in Katowice. Havoc and JKS. What have you got? An and an AK to keep the dream alive. Side. Oh, it's not just taking their time with this. Aloe finds another one. That's going to be his 27th frag as he has been standing at the top of that scoreboard, joined by Forrest and Get Right, all standing with 20-something. And it's Exist to acquire it. 16-5 will be the final result, and NiP advance. They're going to the arena, and they're going to have a shot at that